If you're going to take the risk of running advertising online, shouldn't you get the benefits of learning from someone who's in the platforms every second of the day? Welcome to BidPixel.com's Marketing Ear Biscuits, the original podcast dedicated to digital advertising run by two Aussie guys who ride around in kangaroo pouches and drink Fosters and 4X beer.
Oh. Hey, Jaryd.
How are you?
Good. Jaryd from Evolve's with us. He was with us last episode. If you haven't watched that, it's just there. Can I do that? Is this too soon to be saying that? No. So there's an episode just here somewhere. Jaryd and I talked about the secrets of going cross-border with your Facebook advertising and your brand building when you get big enough. So Evolve Skateboards is doing a massive push into the US market, into Japan, into the UAE, into Europe. So what was an Aussie brand built over 10 years is now taking on the world. And there's more information in that episode. But today, mate, I'm going to quiz your brain a little bit more about how iOS 14's structured or changed how you're operating your ad accounts, your pages, your domains, domain verification, all that sort of stuff. And then we're going to talk a little bit about, like, you've come from agency side. So Evolve is, I believe, one of your first big roles, client side.
Yep.
Let's talk about how I see it as an agency and how you see it as a client.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've got a lot of respect for what we do, and you can report differently. You can see things differently. It's like I envy you a little bit, but I also love what I'm doing. So, quick refresh. How many pages are you running for the Evolve brand? What regions are you pushing into?
At the moment, pages is about 10. Evolve pages.
Okay, let's simplify that. How many regions are you running ad spend into and different campaign structures into?
8.
8.
8.
Cool. All right. How many business managers?
2.
Do you want to define where those 2 are for me?
Where one is one account is Australia, New Zealand, UK, and Japan. So 4 countries, 1 ad account.
4 countries, 1 ad account, 1 pixel.
Correct.
Cool. And your other ad account?
USA.
Individual pixel?
Correct.
Cool. So USA standalone. Your URL structure is, how does that sit?
Each Evolve country has its own unique URL.
So is that like evolveskateboards.com.au, evolveskateboards.com.uk?
Yep.
So completely separate domain names and not just subdomains.
Correct, yeah.
So I'm asking him this information because it's going to follow into domain verification and iOS 14 and ATT tracking with Apple. There's a big thing about how you set up your structure and how you set up your pages and how you set up your domains based on how you're going to advertise and which ad accounts you use, which pixels you use, all that sort of stuff. So this is foundation kind of questions. Sorry if I'm going deep. 1 ad account for the world.
Yep.
1 ad account for the US.
Correct.
1 pixel for the world, 1 pixel for the US, multiple domains under 1 ad account for the world, right? So
Correct.
the process for you to do your domain verification, what happened there?
It's actually fairly simple for us. We were able to go in and put the, I don't think it was a JavaScript code or the meta code into the head tag of each domain.
Yep. So done through Shopify's Liquid Code or done through DNS?
Ads Manager.
So you got the code from Ads Manager
Correct.
and then you put that into a meta. So you've used the meta code into your website.
Correct.
Cool. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
How many developers do you have working on the websites?
Currently, we have 1 in-house.
Yep.
And then I think we've got 2 outsourced.
So one of the interesting things that we've found already, inserting the domain verification code as a meta tag or as a HTML tag into the header of the website, we've already had 1 or 2 customers update their themes or update their Shopify store and drop off that code. Okay. So I'm not saying he's going to do it, but there's got to be a process in place now for updating themes and developers 100%. Touching themes.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're I guess working alongside the developer, I have the ability to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's key. You're absolutely right. And we're actually in the process now of updating website as well. across the world. And it's an absolute mission, but that for me, from a media buying perspective, it's absolutely important.
Yep, awesome. So domain verification, go through meta tag into the header, get the little refresh, get the green light.
It's actually quite
Good to go.
satisfying. Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
And no problems.
no problems. We've been so lucky. It's been awesome.
So no problems with that process.
Correct.
How's attribution tracking going for you? How's the change? Now, technically in Australia, Apple's ATT is only just starting to happen now, right? So devices are only just starting to get that notification of tracking.
Yeah.
Very, very few so far.
Yeah.
Facebook, though, has changed a lot of things in preparation, right? Attribution windows have changed. How... I've talked about the agency side of this already. How, as a client side, reporting to your direct reporters, how are you measuring your performance now that Facebook's changed the game?
Yeah, it's a good question. Attribution for us in Ads Manager has been a little bit of a kerfuffle, a bit of a nightmare. The metrics that we once saw, the 28-day, is sort of obviously no longer. Changing that even changing that to 7-day, for us, the actual metrics that we now see are almost not there.
Yep.
So we've had to resort to external third-party reporting.
Yep, so we'll get to that in a second. So Jaryd's saying, like, everyone in the ecom game would look at the ROAS, like, you know, your custom columns, you're making your ROAS column and you're watching that ROAS, or you're watching the conversion amount. Like, it's just not there. And it's, you're not alone. You've got 2 ad accounts that you're looking at. We've got over 100 ad accounts daily that we're in and around looking at. And the platform is still evolving, right? Facebook's scrambled to do this. You're not seeing everything. Like, you're either using third-party platforms, like you said, you're using the server-side tracking with Shopify and Facebook talking a little bit closer to get your information through the API, or you're just not getting the information, which is really hard on the agency side of things. But I guess on your side of things, you were saying off air that you used to rely on a CPA, right? And if you had a target CPA, that was your benchmark, right?
Yeah,
if I can sell a skateboard for this or less, high fives.
All day long. Yep.
How have you evolved that now?
It still rings true, but we've had to sort of, again, look outside of Ads Manager, look at third-party tools. For us, we're fortunate enough to know that for you, running multiple hundreds of ad accounts, it would be a little bit different because I've sort of condensed everything. For us, the metrics sort of, I guess, stayed the same in essence, right? For us, looking at the CPA and looking at the ROAS, but we've had to sort of condense that. Like, what is the... I mean, because the skateboard it's not cheap, right? So we've had to look at sort of the buying behavior as well. But nothing's, from an actual metrics perspective, nothing's really changed for us.
Well, I guess from a consumer perspective, they're not speeding up or slowing down their decision to purchase.
Correct.
You just don't have as much clarity as you used to on that.
100%. Exactly right.
So the previous episode with Jaryd just now was talking about that buyer journey and that user experience and how to delight and educate someone so they want to buy your product. And that was his secret about doing ads well, right? The customer journey. That hasn't changed. For you, you just can't maybe see the transparency of after a 7-day window anymore.
Exactly right,
But people are still buying, people are still consuming. You're still got to have to educate and put out that same message. Cool. What tools are you using to maybe try and bridge that gap a little bit?
As in the third party?
Let's talk about the third party stuff.
Yeah, Wicked Reports has come in handy. It's quite pricey.
Yep.
For you guys, yeah. And we're testing out a tool called Magix with a CX, Magix.
There's an X on the end somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. Actually, looked at some reviews. Thought it was a little bit gimmicky, to be honest. But so far, so good. So far in terms of creating audiences, from a reporting perspective, it's awesome because it's like how Ads Manager was.
Yep. You can still report. So I think like Wicked Reports gives you lifetime attribution, right? Which is very, very important if you're going to follow someone through their journey.
Correct. Yeah. It's a little bit heavy for us, to be honest. Whereas Magix, I can sort of lean on the simplicity of the dashboard and use that as a...
So being able to still see that attribution, but not, I guess it's not the same in Business Manager. It's not the same reporting an ads account. You've come from the agency side. We've got clients who are, honestly, they've got their head in the sand a little bit about this right now. We've been priming them for 2 months now and educating them and letting them know that things will change. We run reports for them and show them, 60% of your customers are on Apple phones. 86% of your customers are using Apple devices. What's going to happen when that retargeting window just shrinks, right? How are you preparing your brand? How are you changing your creative? How are you delighting your customer so that, selling apparel or something low value might be still quite easy and achievable. You're selling $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 skateboards. They don't buy them in a week. They take their time and research.
It's a considered purchase, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of research is done beforehand, for sure. So our top of funnel game has to be really strong. Like phenomenally. So a heavy chunk of the budget we are allocating to top of funnel, for sure.
All right, so let's just recap this quick little one. 1 business manager, 2 ad accounts, 2 pixels, multiple domains.
Correct.
So domain verification for every domain that's there, but running everything off. Most of the worldwide stuff is run off 1 pixel. And then campaign structure under those, are you separating out your campaign structure for your targeting? So say does Japan have its own campaigns? Australia has its own campaigns.
Correct. Sometimes testing out, say for a particular sale like now, which is run across the world, same figure, I can test 1 campaign, multiple ad sets, which the ad sets represent basically a country. That's worked really well. ABO, purely because controlling the budget at the ad set level for that specific campaign would be a lot easier because, obviously maybe New Zealand has got a lot smaller budget than say, Australia.
Yeah, like if you ran a CBO, campaign budget optimization, you might find that the US ad set just runs away with the budget. And
it mostly does,
Poor New Zealand just doesn't get a thing, right? Or Japan or Australia.
Okay.
Let's rewind then 18 months and let's talk about CBO quickly. What went through your head when we were told campaign budget optimization? Were you an early adopter and did you see results, or were you a laggard and you like high five Facebook when they reversed it all?
Nah, look, I guess I was an advocate for CBO at the point before we started to consolidate everything. So it worked really, really well because we weren't sort of, at the time, I suppose we weren't beholden to be able to allocate various budgets. So sort of the budget was spread across. And if at all, 80% went to Australia, that was okay because we're still sort of, at the bottom line, it's filling the kitty, so to speak. Look, at the moment now, currently running mostly ABO. And in terms of like performance, there's really been little to none, to be honest, for us.
Do you want to rephrase what you just said then? Loss of performance or the difference? So you just said in terms of performance, there's been little to none.
In terms of performance difference, right?
Yeah, sure.
So like from when I was running CBO, when I was running ABO, the difference in return on ad spend has been very little. Like almost, if I handed it over to somebody else, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, sure. But something like this top of funnel campaign for your sale at the moment, which I think is free shipping and a gift or something? Is
$150 off a board and free shipping in Australia while stocks last.
Winky face. Hang on, do that again. That's our thumbnail. So something like that, if you want to go top of funnel and if you could go a worldwide top of funnel campaign that's going to give you a bigger audience set, how would you do that? Or are you still separating it out and changing creative across different regions?
Sometimes it's a little bit of a management consolidate. So when I'm running like multiple campaigns, it's a little bit hard to manage sometimes, especially for multiple countries. So for a sale, it's fairly simple. If I can run less campaigns and run them under the sort of the ad set, I've got the budget control there. From a management's perspective, it's a lot easier for me. when there's no sale and we're testing out different things, then I'll sort of spread it out a little bit. Obviously, with things like catalog campaigns, running those out as separate campaigns.
Yep. Different catalogs set up for different regions
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
Excluding certain products, like
Yes.
you'd have a heap of spare parts on the
Yes.
website. You'd
Absolutely,
be excluding
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
My next question was audience building. Are you relying on your own data? Are you buying data off Experian? How do you build your audience sets, and how do you work out how to use your data?
We're I guess prior to iOS 14, we were so fortunate to be able to have a massive database, and we've been collecting emails for years, and they are very highly engaged. So we have a good EDM funnel that we send out to, it's not just a sale email, it's valuable content that people want to actually read. Click-through rates are awesome. So we collect emails through, we do a lot of giveaways. So people love giveaways, whether it's a voucher or a particular part or, some cool wheels. We're collecting email addresses that way, and also do collaborations with other brands. There's exposure there as well. So we're always collecting first-party data.
First-party data. Facebook audience building, doing all the usuals, website traffic,
Yes.
abandoned cards, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Video view campaigns,
Yes.
top of funnel.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, they're great because I would say 98% of our creatives are videos.
Yep.
It's-
Do you use that as part of your strategy? Are you using like a top of funnel video to build an audience
Yes.
to educate and motivate them down the
Absolutely.
line?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably not so much now because all sort of roads are leading to the sale. However, especially when we've got a nice long video, those video views are key, absolutely key.
Yeah, cool. We haven't really touched on YouTube, Google stuff. Are you running? Is there when we're talking video? Is there a YouTube strategy? Are you doing lots of pre-roll, mid-roll?
Yes, all of the above.
Clickable or sticking to skippable? Not skippable.
At the moment I'm probably not so much in the Google at the moment, but again, more of a educational brand building. From a conversion perspective, YouTube ads have not been great, but from a brand building perspective, they're awesome. Cheap clicks, cheap views.
Yep.
What we're actually testing now in Australia is actually TikTok ads.
Yep.
And we're spending very little money, but getting massive traffic through.
So once again, is that a brand building?
Yes,
Is that like
absolutely.
there is another generation rising up that's going to start purchasing
Absolutely.
your boards?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
where they are.
Yeah, and surprisingly, when I first took on testing out TikTok, I thought it was going to be your 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, and female as well. However, from the data the early data that I'm seeing is the actually majority of male viewing our ads on TikTok and are sort of 14 to 25, and that's young. I guess our key demographic is your 25 to 30, 35. However, TikTok is actually just driving a lot of that traffic through.
They're the next generation of buyers as well, though, right? I do wonder how skewed that data is. Like we are in and looking at the platform. I'm on there. There's definitely a trend for what TikTok pushes as content, which would be a female-driven form of content. I wonder if the male-driven side of your audience building is because they're consuming content that there's pleasing to them and they're looking at stuff that's maybe not on the other platforms. I wonder, like, what I'm talking about without me saying it, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And it's a very localized market too. Like in Australia, we see TikTok videos of Australians largely. Like I've never seen any other platform really hone in on showing content from that region. Like we're just used to seeing American content on every platform.
Absolutely. We found that, allegedly, according to TikTok, because we've been allocated a manager, and allegedly the algorithm favors some really like the music and the creative, and then they'll obviously spend where appropriate. But we're testing some really funky creatives, like creatives that we probably wouldn't put out on say Facebook or Instagram. Stuff that's like vibrant and the music's loud, and allegedly, according to the data and in TikTok, ads manager, if you want to call it that, is performing really, really well.
So it's that thumb stopping content. You've got milliseconds to get them to stop swiping, and
less than 9 seconds.
Yep. Your view time would be always less than 9 seconds. Or
I mean, like our actual the creative length that we.
I thought that sounds quite long.
It's long. It's long. It's definitely long. We've put in longer. I think you can do up to 15 seconds in TikTok. But that sweet spot for us, just the creative that we're producing, is no more than 9 seconds.
And like something, the brand's in there within 1 or 2 seconds.
It's straight away. The feature of the product, the sale price, it's flashing over. There's lots happening. It's thumb stopping content.
Well produced stuff. Yeah. It's top of funnel. It's
100%
brand building.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Jaryd, mate, thank you very much. Is there
my pleasure.
Last chance to say anything?
No, I really appreciate the time. One little sort of hack or tip that we've actually, it's a secret. Yeah. We've actually been sending text only EDMs. No
flashiness, no GIFs,
flashiness,
no nothing.
No GIFs, maybe a couple of emojis, and they are performing amazing.
What's your EDM platform of choice?
Klaviyo
Of
or
course.
Klaviyo, whatever you want to.
Klaviyo. It's you're mad not to be using it. To
Absolutely,
be honest. So text only and more personal as well.
It's very personal. We'll sign it off from somebody on the team, and it's very really good results.
I can honestly sentiment to that from the agency side of things. We get to test a lot, and we've got customers who want like mile-long GIF-filled emails, and we're finding like they look beautiful, but they're not getting open, they're not getting read, they're not getting clicked because half the devices looking at them aren't loading them.
Yep. And Gmail is like flagging a lot of that stuff as well.
Yeah, like GIFs aren't playing automatically, stuff isn't happening. The simpler is best. A lot of our campaigns that work well in Klaviyo are literally like signed off by the co-founder or signed off by the brand owner or the brand director, and like they're super simple, they're from the heart, and they're actually talking about something that's valuable. And 100% agree with you on that. The other trend that we're seeing with Klaviyo emails is like almost like blog form content.
Yes.
It works for some markets, it doesn't work for others. Once again, it's probably that has to be that education and motivation.
Absolutely.
If you try and sell and write it in 1,000 words, they're not going to read it.
Absolutely agree.
Good insight, mate. Thank you. High fives.
All right, so I got a bit excited and forgot to do an outro to that one. That was Jaryd. Jaryd's from Evolve Skateboards. He's the sole ad buyer for Facebook. Off camera, we were just talking about he does Klaviyo. He's fully invested into now researching TikTok for the brand. Jaryd is from an agency side originally though, so that's how I first met Jaryd. We've both come from agency side. We've both come from the pressures and the stresses of trying to prove your worth to a final customer, to the end user. And he's now sitting client side with Evolve, and he's been there for a few years, and he's got a wealth of knowledge. He's just pretty much broken some myths for us that it's not as hard as it needs to be. Now, I'm not underselling what an agency does because we do a heck of a lot behind the scenes for brands. He does a lot for Evolve Skateboards, and when he plays it down and says that it's so simple and that he's only got a few campaigns running, we didn't go into the breadth and depth of his audience building. We didn't talk about how he's segmenting and targeting. We didn't mention exclusions on campaigns and ad sets to make sure we're not doubling up on audience overlap, those sorts of things. Like, there is a bucket load of work that goes behind what that man does. So much so that he's talking about what he doesn't get time to do. He's got an amazing job and an amazing challenge taking Evolve internationally. It was really good just to listen to some insights of a brand side, ad buyer. And yeah, Jaryd, when you watch this, I appreciate your time, mate. If you have any interest in electronic skateboards, obviously you're going to go buy one from Evolve. Their details are down below. Thanks for tuning into this stupidly long podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. Let me know if you'd like more Jaryds on, and let's keep on providing you some information and giving you some insights. Peace out, guys.